Ocarina of Time's Dead Hand. Ocarina of Time was Nintendo's first venture into 3D games, and starting with Zelda, an already popular franchise, was an amazing idea. It ended up being the fourth best-selling game on the N64, and still beats a lot of modern game sales, which is insane considering how much more popular gaming is now. And aside from it doing extremely good sales-wise, it's affected gaming as a whole in an insane level, inspiring tons of games and pretty much kickstarting the whole genre of 3D adventure games. Which means a lot of kids got to experience one of the creepiest things shown on the N64. In Kakariko Village, Child Link is told that the lens of truth lies within the depths of the well. After going down the well and going through some unsettling looking sewers, Link stumbles across a room, almost entirely empty inside, aside from 4 long arms poking out of each corner. Once he gets close, Link gets grabbed and the Dead Hand appears. Once defeated, it drops the Lens of Truth needed later on. But you go through a massive chunk of this game never seeing a Dead Hand again, which, well, makes you forget about it. It's most likely been a good 6 to 8 hours where you'll forget about this one encounter of a terrifying creature. Which makes it all the scarier when deep inside the Shadow Temple, when Link is now an adult, he finds it again. This time more equipped to fight it. Being able to use the lens he got from the last one, Link is now able to see where the Dead Hand is underground and hit it from a range without having to get close at all. This is the last one in the game, and even though it only appears twice, it stays in a lot of Zelda players' minds, with how terrifying of a creature it was. Just coming across it out of nowhere and having such a unique, scary design. And sure, Ocarina of Time has some scary enemies, the Re-Deads and Gibdos being the main ones. But the Dead Hand stands out as a creepy mass that can control an entire room and very easily kill you. It was so scary that for the 3DS remake of Ocarina of Time, they had to get rid of most of the blood on the creature. Yeah, aside from its shape and ability being scary enough, it was covered in blood. Half-Life 2's Ravenholm. Half-Life 2 is an action game. Sure, the first game certainly did have some aspects with horror, with its whole premise and some dark environments, but it was also filled with a lot of humor. But the sequel is a bit different. I mean, at the start of the game, you're driving on an airboat through a massive chase scene, and this boat eventually gets guns that you can shoot enemies with later on. Obviously, not every segment of this game is as action-packed. In fact, most of the story and level design is pretty depressing, but certainly not very horror-themed. Not too scary, necessarily. That is until Ravenholm. It goes from you just having to evade the Combine Forces' guns and soldiers, to you running through an utterly destroyed town. A town destroyed by the previously portrayed scary Combine. And sure, they were definitely portrayed to be scary, but seeing what they can turn a town into makes them downright terrifying. The town is a wreck. You can tell it used to be very populated. Ravenholm was a very big mining town. It was thriving, in fact, but everyone that once lived there is now a zombie. Except for one mentally unstable but friendly priest named Father Gregory, and he alleviates some of the tension, but clearly not enough. Entering this town, all you have is the gravity gun, a weapon that's capable of picking up nearby objects and propelling them. Luckily, for some reason, there's some explosive barrels around, and this is the main way of killing enemies at the start, but the main way of killing the town's infected is through saw blades, shooting them straight through the zombies. Eventually, Father Gregory gives you a shotgun, and the whole town is made a lot easier to get through, but the horror factor is still there. Most media zombies are standard, dumb, slow, mindless creatures, but Half-Life's are a bit different. Sure, they still move really slow and do look like pretty standard zombies, aside from the head crabs on them, but you may be able to tell that the sounds they're making almost sound like something you can understand. Well, if you reverse them, just listen. Yeah, they're, people that are still somewhat sentient, at least. They're crying out for help. The shift from normal combat with Combine, with some pretty good battle music, to scavenging your way through a zombie-infested mining town is definitely an unexpected one. And because of this, most people still recall the We Don't Go to Ravenholm level as one of the scariest in gaming and for sure one of the most iconic parts of Half-Life. GTA Mount Gordo Ghost. In the Sonora Beacon newspaper in GTA 5, there's an article about the murder of Jolene Cranley Evans. Her husband, Jock Cranley, who's been mentioned in other GTA games as well, was a famous stunt double that appeared in tons of shows in the 80s. Well, one day while they were on a hike through the mountains of Los Santos, Jock pushed his wife off of Mount Gordo. She died of several internal injuries, and ever since there's been sightings of a ghost where she died. If you go to Mount Gordo, you can see a part of the mountain, just off the trail, that has the word Jock spelled out in blood. If you come to this spot between 11 p.m. and midnight, you'll see the ghost of Jolene Cranley Evans. Rockstar's been known to have a lot of these types of Easter eggs in their games, but none usually have this much lore to them. And it's not just this appearance of Jolene that makes it all spooky. To help lead you here, if you're towards the bottom of the mountain when the ghost appears, you'll hear whispers and screams, and they're pretty unsettling. This is just completely unexpected to see in a GTA game, and it's a much more developed, creepy Easter egg than really most that are in Rockstar games. Halo's Flood. Halo's known for being a product of its time, being an early 2000s sci-fi shooter, but outside of its multiplayer, the campaign, aside from being great, also has a massive shift in tone and almost complete genre in the mission 343 Guilty Spark. The mission opens with a group of Covenant enemies running for their lives, and you're dropped into the same swamp with them with the objective of locating Captain Keyes. As you go through the swamp, a facility can be seen, with even more Covenant running out from it. After you kill all the Covenant aliens like usual and enter, the tone changes. There's hardly any enemies, and there's tons of Covenant already dead. It's quiet, eerily quiet. As you go through the facility, you can see marks of explosions and blasts only the Covenant can make. And sure, there's some dead soldiers, but a lot of dead Covenant, way more than these soldiers could take down by themselves. There's dripping from the walls of something green. Covenant bleed blue, you red, but what's green? Eventually, you stumble across a soldier who's clearly lost their mind, screaming and shooting at you. Eventually, the only thing you can do is shoot back. Obviously not normal for your own team to shoot at you, so what happened? Near him, you can find the helmet of a soldier who had a recording of their mission. You can see Keyes and the rest of the Marines making their way through this facility, and out of nowhere something attacks, and ends the recording. Well, right behind this crazed soldier, there's particles of some kind of green dust, or possibly spore falling from the shaft. And out of nowhere, the Flood appears. A brand new enemy type that's never even been mentioned. And these guys are scary. The Covenant were just aliens, sometimes goofy aliens, but these things have tentacles. They're all green and swarm to you. Well, it turns out the Flood is a massive issue. Essentially, the Flood are a sort of universe-level threat. They spread faster than pretty much anything and can transform you and any other living thing into one of them. Aside from becoming a big part of the story, they also completely changed the genre of this level and ones to come. Mainly with this one being more survival horror than any other, and the rest of the levels are just scarier in general because, well, what are you more scared of? Some big humanoid alien that makes goofy sounds? Or a parasite with tentacles that can take over the universe? Yeah, the Flood came out of nowhere, and aside from affecting the story drastically, completely changed the tone of the first Halo game, and I'm sure gave some kids nightmares. Metal Gear Solid Psycho Mantis. Now, all of the entries have been things that make sense in a game universe. You know, seeing a creepy creature or something important lore-wise. But the character, Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid, breaks that trend. Psycho Mantis has telepathic powers. He shows off his powers to Snake, you, the player, by breaking the fourth wall. Mantis will actually read your console's save data and list off other games you've been playing, showing that he can read your mind.
You like Suikoden. So, you like Azure Dreams? You like Castlevania, don't you? You enjoy role-playing games.
and he'll insult you if you don't save enough. Aside from being able to read off what you've been playing, he can also make your controller move in real life. Mantis tells Snake to put his controller down, and he'll move it. Well, once you do, the vibration on the controller starts going haywire, and it starts to move across the floor. Oh, and to fight him, you need to swap which controller port your controller is plugged into. This whole fight is just a complete breaking of the fourth wall, and aside from being really creepy and probably scaring a lot of kids growing up on the PS1, it's super creative and not many games can pull off a fourth wall break like this. I know this is a newer style of video, being more cinematic, and it's obviously not an iceberg for once, but I really hope you enjoyed. If you want to support me, you can join the members here at this table, or just like and subscribe. Do whatever you want. I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, and I'll see you in the next one.